Shalom from Israel to all of the Daystar viewers around the world. I'm Moshe Bar Tzvi, the producer and founder of Israel Now News. We at Israel Now News are dedicated to bringing you the full story and the truth about Israel from Israel. It's written in the Holy Bible when David said in Psalm 25:5, "Lead me in your truth and teach me, for you are the God of my salvation. For you I wait all the day long." And God says in Zechariah 8:16, "These are the things that you shall do. Speak out the truth to one another. Judge with truth and judgment to peace in your gates. And always search for the truth, and the truth shall set you free." John 8:31. I hope you enjoyed the program. God bless you from Jerusalem. Shalom, shalom.
Welcome to Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Erin Viner.
In our top story, the lead U.S. negotiator with Iran has gone against the advice of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. In his speech to the United Nations several weeks ago, Netanyahu encouraged the world to ratchet up the sanctions against the rogue Iranian Republic until they completely halt uranium enrichment. In contrast, U.S. Undersecretary of State Wendy Sherman proposed lifting sanctions against Iran, and she encouraged lawmakers to delay the imposition of any further sanctions. The implementation of sanctions already approved has been delayed due to the government shutdown, and Israel fears that Iran is merely stalling the West while it prepares to race to the finish line and complete the construction of a nuclear weapon.
The United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization has passed 6 resolutions condemning Israel. Jerusalem cut ties with UNESCO in 2011 after it became the first UN organization to recognize Palestinian statehood. The body's Islamic and Arab bloc led the campaign for the bill's passage after Israel canceled an April agreement permitting a UNESCO delegation to inspect the Old City, based on Jerusalem's decision that the group was politicized contrary to the parameters of the visit. Other resolutions criticized Israel's preservation of archaeological sites in the Old City, the alleged deterioration of educational and cultural institutions in Judea and Samaria, and the declaration of the tomb of the patriarchs in Hebron and Rachel's tomb in Bethlehem as national heritage sites. Israel's envoy to the organization, Nimrod Bar-Khan, slammed the resolutions as part of UNESCO's obsessive preoccupation with Israel. The group has long been accused of forwarding an anti-Israel agenda.
The former Mufti of Jerusalem was partly responsible for the Holocaust. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has presented evidence that Haj Amin AlHussein, the Mufti of Jerusalem during World War II, was one of the initiators of the Holocaust of the Jews of Europe. Netanyahu cited numerous sources proving that the Mufti encouraged the Nazis to annihilate the Jews during the war. He said the Muslim cleric visited the gas chambers at Auschwitz with Adolf Eichmann and met personally with Adolf Hitler. Haj Amin AlHussein's vicious anti-Semitism gave birth to modern anti-Zionism. Besides encouraging the genocide of millions of European Jews, Husseini incited dozens of riots which resulted in the deaths of hundreds of Jews in the land of Israel. Netanyahu pointed out that the Mufti is still a greatly admired figure in the Palestinian national movement. The reverence they hold for him fuels their vehement denial of Israel's right to exist and makes a lasting peace accord unreachable.
In his first interview with BBC's Persian television, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu appealed to the Iranian people in their native language. Holding a copy of the book written by Iranian President Hassan Rouhani, Netanyahu also quoted directly from the memoir. He said that if the Islamic Republic acquires nuclear weapons, the Iranian people will be enslaved forever and never live freely. Speaking in Farsi or Persian, Netanyahu told Iranian viewers that Israelis are not suckers and that Israel welcomes genuine diplomacy but rejects nonsense. He went on to say that Tehran's ruling ayatollahs are directly to blame for the sanctions imposed against the country and subsequent economic hardship, reminding viewers that prior to the 1979 revolution, Israel and Iran had an historic friendship. The Prime Minister then stressed that as much as Israel wants a diplomatic solution, it is unlikely to achieve one while Iran's leaders call for the destruction of the Jewish state.
U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry has released a statement saying that the U.S. government shutdown has resulted in security aid to Israel being put on hold. Kerry said our security assistance for Israel has been delayed. The new fiscal year started last week, but because of the shutdown, some entities don't have the funding that they need, including supporting the peacekeeping mission in the Sinai at a time of growing unrest in that critical area. The Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe has approved a resolution condemning the Jewish ritual of circumcision. The Council, which represents 47 European nations, released a statement saying that the biblical rite of circumcision is a violation of the physical integrity of children. The Council of Europe put circumcision in the same category with female genital mutilation. The Israeli Foreign Ministry responded by saying that circumcision of male children is an ancient religious tradition. Any comparison of this tradition to the reprehensible and barbaric practice of female genital mutilation is appalling and ignorant at best, or defamation and anti-religious hatred at worst. The resolution is an intolerable attack both on the respectable and ancient religious tradition that lies at the base of European culture and on modern medical science and its findings. The statement went on to say that this resolution cast a moral stain on the Council of Europe and fosters hate and racist trends. We call on the Council of Europe to act without delay to annul it.
A 9-year-old little girl has thwarted what could have been a major terror attack in Samaria. Noam Glick returned home after the Sabbath to find a masked Arab man outside her home where her family was inside. Her screams startled the assailant, who then fired 3 shots at her at close range. Noam was hit in the upper chest, and the terrorist fled the scene before he was able to harm anyone else. Noam's father, Israel Glick, told reporters that the terrorist came well prepared and was planning on infiltrating his home, adding that his daughter's alert prevented a grave disaster. Noam is recovering from her injuries at a Jerusalem hospital. 2 Muslim residents of the neighboring Arab village of El Bereh have been arrested in connection with the attack. In March of 2011, 2 Arab terrorists broke into a home in a Jewish community not far from Noam's home, where they murdered 5 members of the Fogel family in cold blood, including 3 small children. The most recent incident comes despite enormous pressure to move forward in peace negotiations with the Palestinians, highlighting security concerns that Israelis remain in danger of terror attacks. Yochanan El-Ram has more on that story.
As the Israeli people brace themselves for the possibility of painful concessions to further the peace process, Israeli security officials declared that IDF soldiers and civilians are at greater risk. Palestinian terrorists have repeatedly called for the abduction of Israeli soldiers and civilians. They plan to use their bodies as bargaining chips to force the release of jailed Palestinian terrorists. One senior security official said each round of negotiations is accompanied by attempts to harm us. We understand that any conclusion to the peace talks will have an effect on the ground, be it an agreement that will affect the restrictions or an explosion that will lead to a sense of despair and loss of control. We are monitoring the process with open eyes.
Rabbis throughout Israel have called for the public to add a special prayer to their daily liturgy, calling for the wholeness of the land of Israel. As pressure from the United States to relinquish areas in the biblical heartland of Israel to Palestinians increase, religious leaders are now asking for widespread prayer against plans to tear the ancestral land. All Jews have been asked to recite this special prayer during the Amidah, which is performed 3 times a day. It reads, "Our Father, our King, nullify the schemes of our destroyers. Please, merciful God, annul severe decrees and don't give your land to disgrace. Protect and save us from our enemies and give us the valor and courage to build and plant your holy land, and may we live to inherit our land."
Hundreds of Christians were in Jerusalem last week to participate in the 10th annual Day of Prayer for the Peace of Jerusalem. The event's organizers said that worldwide 300,000 churches in 175 nations participated. This event takes place on the first Sunday of every October. The 90-minute program featured Israeli political figures and pastors from around the globe who shared the message of the importance of praying for the peace of the holy city of Jerusalem.
Israel continues to mourn the passage of former chief rabbi of Israel and spiritual leader of the Shas political party, Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, who passed away last week. The entire city of Jerusalem came to a standstill as an estimated 850,000 mourners filled the streets during the rabbi's funeral procession to his gravesite. The Prime Minister of Israel, the President, the Mayor of Jerusalem, and many rabbis eulogized Rabbi Yosef. We here at Israel Now News would like to extend our condolences to the Yosef family, students, friends, and followers of the rabbi, and to add our prayers for God to bring the nation comfort in this time of grief.
More than 1 million Jewish children have been killed by abortion in Israel since 1948. Israel is currently engaged in a demographic war for its very survival as a Jewish state. Imagine what a difference 1 million more Jews would have made for Israel. Friends of Efrat saves the lives of thousands of children every year by providing support to pregnant women in distress. Since 1977, Efrat has saved over 30,000 lives and is recognized as a world leader in preventing abortions. You can play a major role in Israel's survival now by helping us save Israel's unborn children.
And that concludes the news portion of our show. Stay tuned for Ask the Source with Josh Reinstein.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein, and we're here in yet another beautiful day on our rooftop studio in Jerusalem. My guest today is David Liu, Director of the Israel-China Interflow Association. David, thank you for being on the show.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Josh. Shalom.
David, tell our viewers, what is the Israel-China Interflow Association?
Yeah, Israel Interflow Association was founded in the year of 2011. We mainly focus on the purpose of to stand with Israel and blessing Israel and give Israel a lot of blessings. Yeah, and we also doing the things from different fields. For example, the high tech, education, tourism, even agriculture included. So we want to cooperate with Israel from this field. Yeah.
Now, the foundation was actually started by Chinese Christians.
Sure.
Why are Christians in China reaching out to Israel?
Because we, according to the Bible, we have the word from the God, from the Lord, to bless Israel will be blessed.
And are there many Christians in China that feel this way?
Sure, according to my knowledge, there is 100 million Christians in China.
And 100 million Christians in China that are Bible-believing Christians who love the state of Israel?
Sure, most of them, but they need more teaching about Israel.
Are more Chinese Christians coming to Israel?
Sure, we are organizing the Chinese Christian tours to Israel for pilgrimage, for Bible teaching, for a spiritual tour.
And what can be done to bring more Chinese Christians to Israel?
Sure, we will share more according to the ICIA, Israel-China Interflow Association, to teaching them what is Israel, what is non-time Israel, because most of the Chinese Christians, they know Israel only from the Bible, but they don't know what is the real Israel in the non-time. They just know from the CNN or from the TV show, from the newspaper, but they don't know the whole of the Israel, all the view of the Israel.
One of the things that you're doing through the Interflow Association is trying to create economic cooperation between Israel and China. Is that something that you see moving forward into the future?
Sure, economy is a very important between China and Israel relationship, but we not only focus on economic, but also including, just now I mentioned, the high-tech education and even spiritual bilateral relationship. Yeah.
Do you see Israel open to Christians coming from China and working with Israel?
Sure. We cooperate with the IGTO, the Tourism Ministry of Israel, for almost 7 years, from the year of 2007. Every year they give us a very good supportation. We promote Israel in China to every provinces, every respect. Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Recently, our Prime Minister was in China meeting with your premier.
Yeah.
What impact did that meeting have?
Sure, that is very good things for the relationship between the two countries and the people of they know. This is very important for us, the government leaders, to meet each other, to talking about more the bilateral relationship for the future.
You are now founding an Israel branch of the Israel-China Interview Association here. What do you think bringing business leaders from Israel and business leaders from China can bring to both our countries?
Yeah, we was founded from the year of 2011, and we already take some business delegation here for the agriculture or for high tech or for education. In the coming future, we will organize more. We will focus on the education, agriculture, and we will focus on only Israel and China. Yeah, and the Jewish world and the Chinese Christian world. Yeah.
You know, we see a lot of companies coming from America and Europe and investing in Israel.
Yes.
Do you think in the future there'll be companies from China coming and investing in Israel in such a way?
Sure. Yeah, we will. Yeah, I got a lot of requirements from the Chinese entrepreneurs. They want to buy high tech, for example. They want to invest in Israel to building, for example, hotels for accommodation for the tourists come from China. They also invested, for example, maybe they found a foundation financially. It's and some of them want to even buy a farm, buy land in Israel.
You know, there are literally tens of millions of people watching this show. What message do you have for our viewing audience?
I want to sing the Israel national anthem in Chinese to show all the audience. 只要心中尚存犹太人的渴望，遥望东方的眼睛，注视着西岸山岗。我们还没有失去2000年的渴望，做一个自由的民族，屹立在西岸山和耶路撒冷。做一个自由的民族，屹立在西岸山和耶路撒冷。
Thank you, David, for
Thank
being
you,
on the
Josh.
show.
Thank you, Josh.
And thank you for tuning in to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. Now back to the studio.
This is Jerusalem, Israel's capital city. It's an ancient and modern treasure that is beyond belief. There's a little bit of Israel in all of us. Come find the Israel in you.
Up next, Shining Light from Israel.
The question is, what are the benefits of blessing Israel? The answer, Genesis 12:3. Most of you have heard me say this before, but it is an eternal promise. I will bless those that bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. That one sentence is God's foreign policy statement concerning Israel. Let's consider Bible examples that you can find in history of people who blessed Israel. Consider the Pharaoh who blessed Joseph. When Joseph came into the land, he gave Joseph and his family the lands of Goshen. The Jewish people prospered in Israel, and the Pharaoh that blessed Joseph became the most wealthy man on the face of the earth, because when God revealed to Joseph that the plague was coming and they saved all of that food, they used that grain to buy the real estate around Egypt. Pharaoh owned Egypt. He owned the Jewish people. He owned that real estate. He was the most wealthy man on the face of the earth. I'm saying to you, whenever you start doing things of a practical nature to bless the nation of Israel and the Jewish people, God will begin to pour out miracles in your life that are very obvious and very powerful.
Anywhere else, this would be a vacation by a lake. But this is the Sea of Galilee. The wonders of Israel are beyond belief. There's a little bit of Israel in all of us. Come find the Israel in you.
Please stay tuned for the ICEJ report from the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem.
There is a great need in Israel today, whether it's Holocaust survivors, youth at risk, or new immigrants. Our vision is to build relationships, to foster reconciliation, and to reach out with God's love by responding to the social needs that come across our desk every single day. Through the projects that we do, we hope to provide a better future for the people of Israel and to reach out with hope to those who need it most.
Already for more than 30 years, the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem, is reaching out all over the land, from the north to the south, from the east to the west, to reach those people that are in need. And these people are, of course, the Jewish people who live in this land. But we've also been reaching out to the Christian Arab, to the Muslims, to the Bedouin, and to the Druze that are part of the population of Israel. The ICJ has the incredible privilege to be part in the establishment and also the ongoing expansion of the assisted living community for Holocaust survivors in Haifa. Not only find aging survivors a home, but the Christian support and involvement has touched their lives deeply and is giving them new hope.
I'm very happy when I see people who come, Christians from around the world who come to visit us. They are interested in how we live and they help us. I'm very happy when I see them. It reminds me of my youth. It does something good to my soul. It makes me very happy and I appreciate those who come. They truly deserve a thank you from the Jewish people to know that there are still good people in the world.
We've been engaged in educational programs and vocational training that enables young people, women, and minorities to get the tools that they need to have a better future and to break out of the cycle of poverty.
Do you know what does it mean to be an educated person in the Ethiopian community? It's a big professor. They saw their acceptation is they can change their whole life. Here, we come here, the reality is different. You have to be educated one, to manage your family and to grow your children, to be successful, to keep the country.
I want to study, not all the time, but I want to get to the stage where I know everything. And there is no such stage.
We've been excited to reach out to the children of Israel through various projects. 2 of them were children's homes, where the kids who live in these homes have been removed from their own families for various reasons. Could be because they're orphaned, or they went through some sort of trauma, or other family difficulties. But the first home, the dormitories were in very, very bad disrepair, and we were able to remodel this home and make it a wonderful living space for the children. And in the other, the children had no place to play, and so we were able to put in a new playground for them and help them just rediscover the joys of their childhood.
You just learned about some of the projects the International Christian Embassy is carrying out here in Israel. And I want to personally invite you to partner with the Christian Embassy to bless the Jewish people like never before. We are your embassy here in Jerusalem, and may the Lord bless you greatly out of Zion.
Those who dreamed about the Jewish state, those who wrought the historical miracle and against all odds established a state, those who arrived in the homeland to their new home, those who propelled Israel forward step after step.
I have no doubt that this expanded partnership with our many Christian supporters will greatly strengthen Israel in the years ahead. And I want to thank you all for being part of that historic effort and that historic partnership. May God bless all of Israel's friends throughout the world. May God bless you.
That's all for this edition of Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Erin Viner, reporting from our studio in Jerusalem. Please join us again next week for all your Israel updates.